Goodness. Well, let's get right into it. It's been a while since we've had a little chat. Been a long while since we have a little chat, and that's on me. I apologize for that. Um, I was unfortunately and still am, well, not unfortunately, but unfortunate for this podcast, I suppose. I have been dealing with some family issues. Nothing grievous or tragic, just well, let's start there. Um, it is very tiring, and kudos to anybody that has to deal with a family member that is going through mental health issues. Um, Whether it be a parent, a child, a sibling, extended family, whatever the case may be, if you regularly have to interact or live with somebody with mental health problems, it is exhausting. I mean, you have to be there, and so much of it, so much of what I find is tiring, is the fact that you can't do anything. You have to leave it to professionals, and oftentimes you have to be the person who's patient with all sorts of problems because you know that the person suffering these problems isn't like this normally. This isn't their normal MO, but they're suffering from something, and it leads to difficult interactions, very difficult. It's exhausting. Um, if I have to do a PSA today, one of many, and my most serious PSA is don't try to handle the situation. I have to tell myself not to try to handle a situation by myself. I have to ask for help. And I have to make sure that the person that is suffering from the problem is getting the help they need. And I'll have to sacrifice to make sure that that help happens. I mean, it's just, you do get to days after a couple of months where you just say, poof, is this what life is? Like, am I stuck here? It can feel very entrapping. I felt like a hostage in my own home. I haven't, and all this to say is I haven't really had the bandwidth or even the personal space at the moment to do a podcast, to even sit down and chat, even about something ridiculous. I just haven't had the room. Also, part of it is, because of the dealing with the family situation, because of the changed living arrangements that I'm in right now. I have to adjust, and I have to transition into that. So it's a lot. It's a lot. But let's not harp on the challenges. Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a happy holiday. I know I haven't spoken to anybody in weeks. It feels like really weeks. What's been going on? I can tell you, getting to the holiday period felt like sliding into home base with my face. It's exhausting, right? I was just so burnt out by the end of 2022. But, it's so funny, eh? How are the holidays actually relaxing? We all spend, like, the run-up from Thanksgiving going, oh, the next break we get is Christmas, the holiday period, and New Year's. We'll finally be able to take the foot off the gas and relax. And then you spend the whole holiday period driving to this family event, that friend occasion, this party, that cocktail. And you realize you go back to work in January and you're just like, shit, I didn't relax. Like, I had all this planned to catch up on my sleep, take care of the house, or, just generally get the foot off the gas, and you find your go, especially with kids. Good Lord, with children, the holiday period can be a challenge. So Did a bit of redecorating, as you can see. Um, Kudos to my mother for coming in to my house for a couple of months and going, that couch of yours, seen better days. And it's true, my old couch was an IKEA thing that I bought 11 years ago. And it went through one child. And, I bought it for $750, and I think I got $750 out of it. More than that. I mean, it was still holding up. I mean, this is why I'm a bachelor, because, it took my mother to come and say, couch kind of making your living room look like crap. I mean, it's still a good couch, and ended up somebody took it for their basement, and it's perfect for a basement. You just throw rugs on it and stuff, but it had little tears in the fabric and crap. So I picked this thing up. The first challenge I had to deal with in the holiday period was the fact that this is actually like 4 separate chairs. You can see 3 of them, kind of the corner of the third one. The other one's over there. They're all 4 different colors. It's really funky. It's really cool, but it's kind of 4 separate chairs that fit to be a sectional couch. But I bought a floor model because I'm a cheap bastard. And that beige corner unit didn't come with any feet. And we didn't realize that when we bought it. So the first challenge was, of course, getting a hold of the company I bought it from. And they, you know what, ultimately it worked out. It took a few days because Christmas closure and all this stuff. But took a few days, but ultimately I just called my salesman back. And he had warned me, you buy as is. But when I said, dude, corner unit doesn't have any feet, they gave me feet, no question asked. So, kudos to Mobilia Liquidation Greenfield Park, man. And my salesman, Ben, who, sorted things out for me. And now I got this funky, cool couch. And then, second challenge of the holiday period was scotch guarding the shit out of it. Because I spent triple on this couch what I spent on the old couch. I really wanted to make sure it was protected from damage from myself and children. Myself being an extension of children. And so I kind of made myself a little dizzy the Monday before we went back to work on the 2nd, just putting 5 cans of Scotch Guard all over everything, and even re-Scotch Guarding my big chair here. Shout out to 3M for Scotch Guard. Just a little thing with 3M Scotch Guard. If you guys could just get a better applicator can or a spray bottle, sell it in bigger quantities, that'd be like really cool, because buying 6 cans for $14 a piece. And I went through 5 of them. Granted, that was supposedly, according to the cans that I bought, kind of what I should have gone through. It's not like I overdid it. But would be cooler with like a spray bottle. I think it would apply better. Third challenge. Tried to go out. I tried to go out on New Year's Eve to see the lights, see the show. I made it about 1,000 meters. For Americans, that's 1 kilometer from my house. Was turning left on my green light. No, I didn't have a car. Like, I didn't smash into another car, but turning left on my green light on the street near my house. Hit just one of those Quebec potholes that as soon as you go through it, you're like, well, that's the end of the evening. Immediately pull over. Because it was raining, it was wet. The lights were shining off the wet pavement, and I didn't see. It wasn't really a pothole so much. It was like a really badly repaired area of the road in the middle of the intersection. Just, it's kind of like bumpy, and you can see they patched it, but they never leveled it out. They never just did a proper fix up. Pulled over, pulled out of the car, immediately heard the hissing of the air coming out of the tire. Kind of went perfect, laughed to myself in a maniacal way. Because I was just like, of course, like 2022 had to have one more in the chamber for me. So got home before the air left the tires, right? Like the tire. And kind of limped back to, because again, I was 1,000 meters from my house. So I said, I've probably got 3 minutes of air before it's completely flat. And just made it home, got the car in the garage. It's the 31st on a Saturday. So nothing's getting done Sunday. Probably nothing's getting done Monday. Parked it in the garage, went and inspected the damage, realized I hadn't lost one tire. I had lost two. So great, and light visual inspection showed that the rims weren't looking tip-top either. So, of course, like I said, Sunday the 1st, it's a Sunday. For those of you that are from outside of Quebec, you don't know, there's a very strange rule in Quebec in that dealerships are never open on weekends. Never. You would think they would be, at least the sales office, because you would think that's when people wouldn't want to make an $80,000 purchase or a $50,000 purchase or even a $30,000 purchase after working a full day of work, and it's dark at night and you got to go to a friggin' car dealership and haggle with some asshole for your Honda Civic. You would figure logically that people would take a Saturday, they would go visit a bunch of dealerships, but no. Apparently, the Car Salesman Lobby Union Association said that they don't want to work on weekends, so dealerships are closed. And it got to a point where some dealerships actually tried to get an edge up on the competition and open on Saturdays, and ended up that other dealership salesmen would throw bricks through their windows. Not to take away the competitive edge, but to force them to close to not make their salesmen work. Vive la République. So French in this attitude. So friggin'. And I can say it. I'm a card-carrying Frenchman. So French. You have to work 5 more minutes. Let's burn down the country. Anywho. So nothing's ever open in Quebec for car dealerships on weekends. You can sometimes find a really shady garage mechanic that might be open on a Saturday. But Sunday the 1st, for sure not. So anyways, no car Sunday. Monday, nothing's open because Sunday was the 1st. Of course, everybody took the stat on the Monday. Anyways, Tuesday rolls around. You'd think everything would be open again. This is how I knew the mags were bent, because when I tried to patch up the tires, of course, the air wasn't just leaking from the holes in the tires themselves in the sidewalls. Before anybody asked, no, those tires were not repairable. But they were leaking from where the tire meets the mag. The seal between the tire and the mag was no good anymore, which means the mag is bent. Both mags. Managed to duct tape the tires. Yes, I did duct tape the sides of my tires enough, because I said the dealership's a 5-minute drive. I need 5 minutes of air to get there. Limped over the dealership. It was closed. Again, they had, of course, this wasn't posted on their website, wasn't posted on a Facebook page, nothing. I'd checked all that. I'd tried calling 100 times. I had called other dealerships and they were open. That's when I decided to drive over. You get there, the gates are closed in front of the dealership parking lot, of course. You walk up to the door, and the only notification that they've given is a little piece of paper taped to the sales office door saying, Monday the 3rd or Tuesday the 3rd closed. So, what you do in Quebec oftentimes is if you have a car that needed to be flatbedded or towed or something to a dealership, you just leave it in front of the gate, and that's what I did. Left the car there and Ubered home. So, of course, that meant that, Tuesday, no car, Wednesday, no car, Wednesday, finish my workout at my gym, Uber over to the dealership, because I actually called them when they opened saying, do you see a dark blue little Japanese car outside? Yes, we do. And they said, we can't move it, though, because it doesn't have keys. And I go, I know, because I'm not leaving my keys in the car on the street for just somebody to steal. I know it's got no tires, but how desperate can a thief be? And I said, I'll be over in 20 minutes to bring the car. And they said, no problem. So they were very kind about it. Of course, I got there. nothing's in stock, so it can't be fixed that day. Um, they said I needed 2 new tires, that the other 2 tires were still okay, which was really crazy because that's a 5-year-old car, and those are the original Winters that were bought new with the car. So the fact that those Michelins lasted is just incredible. What a tire. But Jesus Christ, it'll be fixed by tomorrow. Okay. Leave, get the call back the next, later in the afternoon. Well, it's not going to be fixed because the tire you have is no longer made. We ordered those Michelins, the same model of Michelin that you have, but the model has changed. They've updated. I don't get it. It's like my tires were obsolete. Basically, is what they were saying. So I had to get 4 new tires. Of course, those Michelins were, $1,400 for a set, and they were difficult to find, so it would take a few more days. Or I could get some Yokohamas for cheaper. I said, just put on the Yokohamas, because at this point I don't give a shit, because also you need to replace the 2 mags. So the total cost of this thing is going to be, $2,600 for hitting a pothole. $2,600. So, of course, did that, got the car back Friday, decided, I took some pictures of that hole a few days later, because it was so close to my house, and decided to go and look what I could. Again, in Quebec, here's the thing. They've written the law such that the Minister of Transportation, now don't forget, I made sure, you have to check, is the road you're on municipally the responsibility of the municipality where I live, or is it the responsibility of the province? Because there are, thoroughfares and highways are considered provincial roads, and the municipality doesn't maintain them. They don't take responsibility for them, so you have to check. I had my suspicions this was the big thoroughfare, so I had a suspicion it was provincial. I was right because I called the city. And of course, when you check the provincial rules, they've written the law in such a way in Quebec that you can never claim damages for vehicle damage for poor maintenance. If you hit a pothole, that's your problem. They've written the rules that way. But somebody had told me, that they basically don't want to cover flat tires because they would never stop paying for flat tires because the roads are so bad here. So I checked on the website, and they're like, well, basically, you need to have a police report. You need to prove that the damage was caused by the hole. I tried to go get a police report. It was so funny. I went to the police station. They said, we don't write police reports for that stuff, so you can forget that. So they've written the rules in such a way that it's impossible to make a claim. Like, impossible. Unless you hit such a bad pothole that your car flips over. There are bits of your car around the pothole that are photographed. There's police on the scene to say definitively that they found your car lying on its roof 100 meters from the pothole or inside the pothole, because that's how big some of them get, and clear that the damage is caused by the pothole. You're not getting anything. And even if your car were to fall into a pothole, any damage to tires or suspension will not be covered. It's insane. Completely insane. So I gave up that route and just called my insurance. That was challenge number 2. Right. And I suppose, the new year started okay. I went back to work, and I tried to hit it with renewed vigor. I've tried to I'm learning, trying to learn at work right now, change my habits. I've been at my job for a long time, over a decade. And I think I needed to shake up. I needed to change things up to get to the next level, and I need to learn more, and that's great. Yesterday, though, went to the gym in the morning, and what I do is I go do my cardio, I go run, and then I will change because often, my cardio stuff is just gross. It's dripping with sweat. So I don't want to be that guy at the gym that's like just leaving pools of water on seats and benches and shit. So I go change, and then I go back and I do the rest of my workout. And if you can believe it, I went running, went to the change room to change. And while I didn't see it happen, I did walk by a sink, and there was shit, human shit, in the sink. Now, I don't live in the inner city. There aren't homeless people going to my gym, I don't think, in the middle of the night to basically have a warm place and work out for a few hours just so they're out of the cold. I live in a suburb. So this is somebody with a car, an apartment, most likely a job of some sort, or a young person that lives with a family that can afford a home in the suburbs, who decided either in the to my mind, I'm trying to deduce when this could have happened. Could this happen? Like, the only reason I can logically put together why someone would shit in a public sink is there are only 3 stalls in the bathroom. They had the protein farts, the protein poops. They went in there. It's the rush hour between 5 and 9 at the gym, or 5 and 8, where I don't ever go to work out because it's just too psychotically busy, and I'll end up as the subject of a murder investigation. That they went there during super busy time. They had the protein farts or protein poops. They went to the bathroom. All the stalls are taken. They're desperate, and they just dropped trow in front of the stall, launched themselves up on the counter, and crapped in the sink. But you would think that at that busy time that the change room is not friggin' empty, and that some meathead would have seen somebody pants around ankles up on the counter, red-faced with strain, noxious odors coming forthwith, and promptly, although perhaps hesitating until pants were back around waists, beat the living Christ out of somebody that shits in a sink. And it would be justifiable assault, in my opinion. Justifiable assault. But that didn't happen. So it must have happened at some point in the night when it's empty. You'd have to find a period of 7 to 10 minutes, or if it's really coming hard, 3 to 4, where you know that for that 240 seconds, no one is going to walk in or out of the bathroom. You can drop trow, crap in the sink, clean yourself up, and run for your friggin' life. I wouldn't stick around. Anyways, I found that at 5:15 on Friday morning. I still had an okay day, which really speaks to my spiritual growth. I felt really bad for the reception guy because he's the only employee working at 5:15 in the morning, and I had to tell him, I think somebody pooped in the sink, and he went, "What?" Which is an acceptable answer to such a statement. And I said, "I think somebody crapped in the sink." And he goes, "You mean there's crap in the sink? Like human crap?" And I said, "Yeah, I think it's human poop." And when you see him walk out of the change room 10 minutes later with a defeated look, kind of just a deadness of pace and gaze, you realize that you probably ruined somebody's day. And I'd like to apologize to that employee because he's a nice dude. He always says good morning to me at that ungodly hour. And he's consistent. He's always there. He doesn't miss his shifts. And I didn't want to do that to him. I'd actually told him just tape it over and let somebody else deal with it. But he to his credit, above and beyond, he cleaned out the sink because I checked after. Who shits in a sink? What kind of animal? I carry convictions, but I don't care about your skin color, your sexuality, your religious affiliation. Every human has a chance to be a complete tool bag, and obviously somebody is. I'm just saying Canada's a big place. There's a lot of, I don't know if you've ever looked at a map, there's a lot of little spotty little islands up in the north. We got to find some place where we could talk to the northern people and say, can we have an island to drop assholes on? They can fend for, we won't kill them, but they can fend for themselves. And somebody who shits in a sink should be put there. They can shit wherever they want. They can drop ass over the side of a fucking iceberg for all I care, start dropping logs, and then have a friggin' killer whale bite their ass off. It's justifiable. I wouldn't see a problem with that. I would have no ethical problem with having a man get his ass bit off after he shit in a public sink by a large marine mammal. I think I'm going to leave it there. Thanks, everybody.